Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Buckshot Thursday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about, among other things, follow home robberies in Democrat-run cities, and why everything Democrats touch turns to shit immediately. Legitimately. We got a video here, which I'm going to show part of in a little bit here. All educational purposes, by the way, YouTube. Do not even try to channel strike me because I will definitely fight that shit. Same thing with a couple other videos I'm going to show today. Well, not really show. I'm just going to do like some still images, what it is, those ones, and just discuss those because they all sort of correlate. They basically all sort of correlate to the follow home robbery thing, is what it is, and the behavior of a certain demographic in this country is what it is. And basically, when you have shitty parenting and fatherless homes and stuff like that, it leads directly to what we're seeing now with these punk ass pieces of shit, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, 18, 19, 20, whatever it is, usually under 21, it's usually under the age to actually buy a firearm legally in this country through FFL. And it's these punk ass, little kids, basically, little wannabe fucking gangbangers is what it is. And, they want to sit there and fuck around and not find out is what it is, but yet they're going to find out eventually. And then you got, things like what happened with Officer Shane Bartak here in Cleveland, Ohio. And then you wonder why Justin Bibb can't find more officers for the Cleveland, Ohio area to actually patrol the streets there. It's like, gee, I wonder, dude, maybe because you can't even legitimately keep safe your officers when they go off duty in the city to where they get murdered in a carjacking gone wrong. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Let alone the dumb bitch who was trying to do that shit. Her dumb ass was legitimately already a multi-time felon at that point because she'd already done a bunch of other felonies, including robbing a pizza joint with like 10 of her buddies, which she should have been in an adult prison for at that point. But of course, Cuyahoga County penal system and the dumbass DAs up there like Mike O'Malley think it's a good idea to be like, oh no, we're gonna give this girl a slap on the wrist and just let her be tried as a juvenile instead of an adult at 17. It's like, nah, man, you charge your ass as a fucking adult. Like, seriously. And Shane would still be alive today for that matter. And the reason I bring up Shane Bartak, obviously, is another thing we're talking about today as well on that one, which is the amount of cops who have been murdered in this country in the past year or so. There is so many ambushes of police officers in this nation right now, dude. It's ridiculous. And I'm not going to sit here and be, the whole back the blue until they blow your head off person or whatever the case be there, dude, is. Because that's exactly what it is at the end of the day. It's militarization of cops and stuff like that, which is another story we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Which has to do with Dinesh D'Souza doing a new documentary similar to 2,000 Mules, except this time it's going to be called, what is that here? Yeah, Dinesh D'Souza to release new film titled Police State next month, a chilling account of America's political persecution. So, yeah, and it's basically cops, being the two-party system and stuff like that. And the thing is, I even called a bunch of leftists down Reddit on the Ohio subreddit is what it was there, because these people love to shit talk Jim Jordan, by the way, and I'm so sick and tired of it, dude, because honestly, yes, Jim may have been part of something in the past, or he may have been, at a place in the past when shit happened there is what it was, which basically was the whole, you look back in the 70s or whatever it was there in Ohio State here. There was a doctor who was apparently having doing all kinds of sexual shit to a bunch of guys on the athletic team and stuff like that. Or the various athletic teams, what it was, because he was an athletic trainer or whatever the case be, an athletic doctor and stuff. Thing is, none of these guys came forward at the time, and they didn't for decades, and they haven't until legitimately 3 to 4 years ago is when it all started, honestly. And it basically is a whole speaking out movement, I think is what started, is what it was for a lot of these dudes then. So it was 2019, 2020, something in there. And the issue becomes is that people keep trying to point the finger at Jim Jordan as if he was the one doing all this stuff, when in reality, it was probably something like Penn State, where you had 50 people walk by a locker room to go do whatever they were going to do for their job there. And meanwhile, you had that one piece of shit there in the fucking locker room with a bunch of young boys, molesting them and stuff like that. That Jerry Sandusky piece of shit. And I almost guarantee it was like that, probably. And the big thing is, the reason that I bring up Jim Jordan specifically is because of the 15 congressmen that represent Ohio, he is the only good one, legitimately. The other 14 suck shit, dude, for real. Especially that fucking rhino asshole fake MAGA dude, Mike Carey. That guy's the biggest fucking scumbag of all, because he's one of the fucking super cunts who thought it was a good idea to sit here and break his oath to office, less than 6 months after you got in to vote for that stupid Safer Communities bullshit. Which, by the way, was nothing more than that gun grab, you fucking douchebag. You should have resigned on the spot right then and there, Mike Carey, you fucking asshole. Like, that's why I honestly hate rhinos more than I hate Democrats, honestly, in many cases, dude, because it's like, you are actually supposed to be the ones who are keeping your oath to office, and the fact that you break it that fucking quick, dude, shows me what kind of a sellout sack of shit you really were, motherfucker. And it's just like that asshole Anthony Gonzalez years ago, which I want to say was the seat that Kerry took over for, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong about that one. But anyway, it was Anthony Gonzalez, who was an ex-Ohio State player, got into office specifically on his name recognition is what it was, dude. And that's the problem entirely when you look at people like that who get into power based on name recognition from being a football player or something like that is what it is. Football player, basketball player, baseball player, whatever it is, doesn't really matter, honestly, dude. Any kind of sports league, whatever it is there. Because the thing is, like, they can talk a big game. It doesn't mean they're going to be anything. And the thing is, I called out Gonzalez fucking 5 years ago when that motherfucker was running back in 2018. I told people in Columbus area then, I was like, dude, do not vote for this guy. He's a Trojan horse. And shocker, it took him roughly like a year or so, like end of 20, like someplace in 2019 into 2020 there, to show his true colors. When he tried to impeach Trump, when he tried to do all kinds of shady shit there, and started voting for gun control and everything else like that. And it's like, yeah, dude, I fucking knew what you were. I knew you were stinking a grass sack of shit, fucking sellout to giant corporations back then. And I told people straight up what the fuck you were, and nobody listened is what the problem is, dude. And that's the problem with people, dude. They want to sit there and bury their fucking heads in the sand instead of actually waking the fuck up. And if somebody tells you something, I don't know, take 5 minutes and research the shit and be like, oh, this guy is telling me the truth or whatever the case be, or this girl is telling me the truth or whatever the case be. Not just in one ear and out the other kind of shit is what it is there, man. Because that's a problem right now. But anyway, so basically, yeah, the left was basically shit talking Jim Jordan about having to, like, we need to get rid of Jim Jordan and all this other bullshit. And then you have this other fucking retard on Twitter right now who is actually trying to run against Jim Jordan this coming election cycle for 2024. And I actually called him out on Twitter last night, actually, on a network moniker, because he was basically talking about how to save our democracy, we must vote through abortion on demand. Fuck you, old man. Like, seriously. Fuck you, old man, you fucking Democrat piece of shit. And the reason I call him an old man is because that guy is fucking old as fuck, dude. He's like in his 60s or 70s already. It's like, nah, dude. You are disqualified from the fucking running, asshole, under the not yet initiated 20th Amendment of the Constitution right now for even trying to push for abortion on demand. Because we all know that shit also correlates with these fucking Democrats who love to push for anti-gun shit too. Because, shocker, they know they'd probably be in the fucking ground if it wasn't for, if they want to take away our guns and everything else like that. Because, of course, what's the thinking for a lot of these people, dude? Is to do child molestation on fucking kids, man. Like, that's the entire point, man. The reason that they want to disarm us is because they know that we would shoot them over the shit they're going to try to do right now. And it's really as simple as that, dude. You know? And I use the word we collectively is what it is. I'm talking about, like, you know, we the people, not like I or anything like that. Just so we're clear on all that shit right now. For any feds that might be listening right now. Oh, they're knocking my fucking door from those cocksuckers again. Oh, by the way, for those interested, today's episode is brought to you by Hawaiian Punch. For when you absolutely must drink something other than water, that's a cold drink. Got some Hawaiian Punch here. So, I got this from the Dollar Tree yesterday. Found out yesterday, actually, apparently Dollar Tree is now selling $3, $4, and $5 items, because the one thing I grabbed that I thought was like a buck or two. I got it up there, and she, like, after she rang it up and stuff like that, she rang both of them up and stuff like that, didn't say anything until we were about to go out the door or whatever and pay for stuff. She's like, oh, just to let you guys know, those are $5 a piece. Do you still want them? And we're like, not both of them. I was like, I want to try one of them, but not both of them for that price. And apparently what it was is there was some asshole there the other day who saw the price increases on a bunch of stuff there is what it was, and tore down their big-ass thing on the cooler thing. And it's like, that's a bunch of crap, dude, entirely. So, I don't know. My biggest issue, honestly, is it should be, if they're going to do stuff like that where they're going to have, like, certain, because it's obviously like a Dollar Tree Plus thing is what it is now. And if you're going to do certain things like that where you increase prices or like other things or whatever that you have in your store then, and it's going to be like cold stuff, I don't know. Change everything around a little bit to where everything up to like this particular display case or whatever is now going to be, $1.25 or whatever it is there. And then everything over in the last cold case or whatever, you just have a sign there that says items in this area or something like that are like $3, $4, and $5. So, you know, like that would be the way to do it, honestly. And then just make sure people know that is what it is then. Or even have a sign on the door that says, you know, we now sell items above $1.25 or something like that is what it would be then. People would understand that then. So, but yeah, I like these a lot though. These containers specifically, because I like to rinse these out after the fact and put water in them and stuff like that. That's usually what I'm drinking out of. The reason I got a couple new ones is because the old one I have up there right now is kind of on its last legs and it's looking kind of gross inside. So don't want to have it like start leaching BPA on me or anything like that. So I'm going to basically probably dump those out in a little bit and then change them out to these ones is what it is then. Also found out that they apparently sell the watermelon Arizona tea stuff over there yesterday, which is like a cocktail drink. I'm not really a fan of that though, because it seems like more of a mixer than anything else then, honestly. But anyway, enough with the distractions though. Getting on to what we're talking about here though, and going back to what I was saying about Jim Jordan there. The whole point of the left hating Jim Jordan so much is because he calls it two-party justice we have in our country right now, which is basically, you know, if you're a Democrat in 2020 and you're doing rioting under Antifa and BLM monikers and stuff like that, 'cause you're terrorists, you get bail funded by Kamala Harris and you get Soros Diaz let you off the hook. God forbid you were a right-wing person, or even centrist for that matter, that just happened to walk through an open door on January 6th in the U.S. Capitol, and oh my God, now your fucking life is destroyed forever is what it is. And I think that's what Jim Jordan was basically bringing up the point of, is it's this fucked up two-tier system. But the thing is, it's more like, it's not even two-tiered though is the issue. Like that's 1 and 2 of about a 4 to 5 tiered system we have right now. Like the left-right thing is just like is like tier 1, tier 2, and then it basically goes tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, which would be the third tier is if you're rich and powerful, like OJ was back in the day, you can get off with literal murder of your ex-wife and her boyfriend. The fourth tier is basically if you're poor as fuck, you're just getting fucked forever is what it is. And I saw that yesterday, actually. There was a dude who, he was up in Cuyahoga County area there, where Cleveland's at, wrongfully convicted in 1988, I believe was what it was, has sat in prison now for 30, it was before that. It was like 1986, 1987 when I was a little kid, whatever there, baby. And it was, I believe he started serving a sentence in 88 maybe, because he had just gotten out here a couple days ago, and he was in there for 35 years and had, you know, declared his innocence the entire time. And what's fucked up is this goes back to the corruption of Ohio, really is what it is, which is back then in the 80s, you wouldn't even have the prosecutors giving up evidence to the defense attorneys that would be vital evidence to actually show that this guy wasn't even in the state of Ohio at the time, because he was in another state. I think it was New York or West Virginia or something like that at the time then. And the thing is, it's like, yeah, this guy wasn't even in our state at the time when this person was killed, and yet he was brought up on this bullshit fucking murder charge, sat in our prison system for 3.5 decades of his life, and now is just now getting out, and they're now talking about the possibility of suing for wrongful conviction and stuff like that. And it's like, just from the story I heard yesterday on the news, it's like, nah, dude, they're 100% going to sue for wrongful conviction. The problem is, though, it should not be the state of Ohio or the county of Cuyahoga County that should be sued in this situation. It should be the fucking judge. It should be the prosecutor at the time, if they're still alive, or their family now, whatever it is, if they're not alive anymore. The same thing with the judge, for that matter. And it should be basically everybody involved in that stuff. The cops at the time, if they're still, you know, around, if they're retired and stuff like that. Because the thing is, you took that man's life from him. You shouldn't have a fucking pension now, dude. You shouldn't have any financial means yourself now when you took almost 4 decades of this man's life. Yet, meanwhile, it's not going to be them paying up through their fucking teeth. It's going to be the taxpayers here in Ohio. It's going to be people like myself that are put into our taxation system right now that are going to be the ones giving this guy's wrongful conviction payouts, which is absolute bullshit entirely, dude. And that's why I'm honestly against stuff like that, because truthfully what it should be is, like, obviously, yes, there's a fund right now for this stuff currently, but I'm guaranteeing it's going to be more than that lawsuit-wise is what this guy's going to pull, those what it is. And the thing is now, He's already admitted, he's like, I'm not going to stay in the state of Ohio anymore. I'm going to go to New York now with my friends and family and stuff like that. It's like, oh, so you're admitting you're basically going to take the money and run then? Like, dude, fuck you then, is what it is, honestly. Because, again, it should not be the taxpayers paying out. It's just like the same thing the taxpayers when we paid out for LeBron James' stupid-ass I Promise school that is now one of the biggest failure schools in this entire state. And I bring this up, obviously, because the murder trial for that one kid is now happening, that Ethan Lyman kid that was beaten to death outside that fucking school by multiple black males is what it was. And the fact that they're possibly going to charge those dudes with manslaughter instead of straight up murder is fucking ridiculous. Those guys should be tried at least with second-degree murder, if not first-degree murder for that matter, because they were intentionally killing this man, intentionally killing this 17-year-old kid. And what's even more disgusting is, during the trial they're falsely trying to paint this Ethan kid as if he was a local drug dealer and stuff like that. And it's like, no, he wasn't, dude. He happened to be with the wrong bunch of idiots that night who were the ones doing the splatterball shooting at these guys. And literally it was a bunch of black people shooting other black people with fucking little water pellet guns. And he happened to be the one that got out and was like, no, bro, sorry, bro. And what do? Bang, punch him in the face, boom, kick him in the head while he's fucking down and kill him. And that's exactly what happened. And then what do they do after the fact? Ran over to his fucking vehicle and proceeded to basically try to rob the shit that was in the vehicle. These two asshole brothers that are now on trial for this guy's death now. So yeah, it's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. And of course, I bring up I Promise too for that matter because of the fact that it's like the biggest failure of a fucking educational system in this entire state right now, to the point where you now have to have the state of Ohio potentially taking it over from the privatized thing that it was, like public privatized thing it was, whatever the group that owned it under LeBron's ass, because it has failed these kids for every single year they've been in it for reading, writing, etc., mathematics, all that stuff. They've been continuously failing for like 4 to 5 years now. They've been existing right now. So, yeah, it's a bunch of failures in general, dude. Which I'm not surprised, given the fact that when you look at LeBron James's ass, every single fucking time that this man is seen reading a book, it's always the first fucking page of the book, dude. It's never halfway through a fucking novel. It's never near the end of a novel. It's always, let me open up a book to have somebody take a fucking picture of me and some paparazzi photo or whatever the case be, and I'm acting like I'm sitting there reading, I'm smart and stuff like that. It's like, no, dude, you're really not, and that's the entire point. The only reason your dumbass got even through high school, for that matter, was because you had a bunch of teachers be like, oh, look at LeBron, he could throw a fucking ball through a hoop real good. Let me give him a fucking A without even having him do a test for us. Yeah, that's who LeBron James is, by the way. Is a dumb motherfucker in general, dude. And I specifically bring him up several times now because of the fact that he also called for the murder of cops here in Ohio. Specifically, it was last year. I believe it was last year. Whenever the black girl tried to stab the other black girl with a knife down in Columbus there, he was basically calling for the assassination of the cop that fucking shot that girl in self-defense is what it was, to save the other girl's life. And it's like, Jesus Christ, LeBron, seriously, why is there not an active arrest warrant out for LeBron James's arrest in the state of Ohio right now, dude? That's a serious question I have to ask everybody out there right now, dude. For that one alone, and then for several other things he's done for the past couple years too, for that matter, for like embezzlement and shit like that. Like, why is there not another active arrest warrant out for like embezzlement and money laundering and stuff like that through that promise schools? It would be then when he stole legitimately taxpayers' money for like 95% of that school being funded and everything else like that. So, anyway, but yeah, going back to we're going to talk about the Dinesh D'Souza movie that's coming out here pretty soon, and then we'll go on and talk about some of the other stuff here that I want to discuss that all has to do with the Follow Home Robbery stuff and everything else like that then. So, and if Corey ever shows up, which I don't think he will, but who knows, maybe we'll have a talk here and there. But yeah, we got Dinesh D'Souza to release new film Police State next month, a chilling account of America's political persecution. And then, of course, you got the cops there with all their riot gear and stuff like that. So Jim Holt previously reported Biden regime's political persecution of ordinary Americans is coming to the big screen next month. Filmmaker and conservative activist Dinesh D'Souza has collaborated with Dan Bongino on a chilling new film called Police State, the movie that will hit theaters on October 23rd and 25th, respectively. So Gateway Pundit previously wrote multiple stories about his previous film, 2,000 Mules, which D'Souza says presents conclusive proof that 2020 election was swiped from President Trump, which it was, by the way. You can easily watch it yourself. It's like conservative actor Nick Starsky. Or yeah. Stary. Trying to forget his dude's name. Oh, okay, that guy. who's best known for playing Sheriff Art Mullen and Justified, plays a villainous role in the movie as the face of the federal law enforcement enforcing the two-tier justice system in America. Says journalist Julie Kelly and Peter Schweitzer contributed research to the movie. Says D'Souza, in an interview with One American News, explains why he decided to make the film. Says it's a film that I never wanted to make, in part because I never wanted America to get to the point where this kind of film needed to be made. We see a lot of things in our country. We take separately news about mass surveillance, digital censorship, political targeting, and then political prisoners suddenly turning up in our country. All of these are signature elements of dictatorial regimes. I've been in this country for more than 40 years of my life, so I'm used to thinking of us as a free world, and then China, North Korea, Cuba, and the old Soviet Union are the unfree world, but now I'm not sure. Says D'Souza contribute... okay, that was just talking about the video there and stuff like that. So additionally, a Rasmussen survey asked what D'Souza called an interesting question relating to the film. So the film which says the result due... Oh, okay, yeah. That Rasmussen poll that results due out tomorrow, so it may shock everyone. A police state is a tyrannical government that engages in mass surveillance, censorship, ideological indoctrination, aka pushing trans ideology on kids, and targeting political opponents. How concerned are you about America becoming a police state tomorrow? Police state. So police state is a tyrannical government. Okay, yeah, there's a bit. Okay, so D'Souza says there will be additional questions related to the film released tomorrow. And then it talks about the trailer there. I'm not going to watch the trailer, though. I don't need to. I already know what it's about, dude. And the thing is, what's interesting is if you look at the whole police state and militarization of cops and stuff like that, it all started in Obama's regime, dude, is what it was. You basically had this weird flip-flop where it was Republican, Democrat, power-wise stuff, where it's basically, you had Bush creating the forever wars back in like 2002, 2003, when we invaded Iraq and all these other countries, what it was after 9/11. And you had like crazy funding of military at that point. And then when Obama got into power back in 2008, going in 2009, he immediately did the same thing to the police in this country, where you had all these MRAPs, Bearcats, all kinds of military-grade vehicles that shouldn't be on U.S. soil is what it is. And they started giving these to various law enforcement agencies across this country, various police departments all across the country, and then, of course, the feds, too, for that matter. And the thing is, it's like, there should be no need for those to be on our streets, period, dude. There should be zero need for an armored vehicle to be on the streets of America in police hands. What we need to have, and like I've said before many times, if people really wanted to fix the justice system as it stands right now and the broken policing system, what we would do is you would A, demilitarize the cops with taking away all that shit for that matter. B, anybody that's in policing currently that has an ex-military background where they were in some kind of war, whatever the case be, and they're all fucked in the head anyways, what it is, dude, immediately disqualified from even being in any position of authority in policing like that. And then C, you would hire good people again that are actually qualified for the job, and you would have them do a basis thing where essentially what it is that they would actually get out of their fucking cars, because you couldn't be a fat piece of shit, by the way, in policing anymore, and just drive around a fucking vehicle all day. No, you would park your vehicle someplace, opening of wherever the hell your area is there, whatever it is, dude, or parking in a parking lot, whatever the case be, and lock the doors and stuff. You get out of the car and you start walking your beat around that neighborhood, and you get to know the people in that neighborhood. And I guarantee you, when you start having actual open communication, open lines of communication like that, where you have police be willing to actually do their job and go around and be, neighborhood cop is what it is there. The people in that neighborhood who are actually good people still will actually be willing to talk to that dude, to interact with that dude. If a murder happens, maybe they'll actually be a witness to it for once. And that's the biggest issue right now. Instead, you have all these jackbooted ass thugs who want to watch shows like The Shield back in the day, or anything else for that matter, where it's all police state shit. And then you wonder, or like corrupt policing is what it is there. And then you wonder why you have a bunch of motherfuckers getting in there who are just going to be corrupt as shit, like those assholes in the Scorpion unit were. You know, at least 2 of those guys weren't even qualified ever to be in law enforcement. They couldn't pass the physical test, is what it is, because one of them was a convicted felon for that matter. It couldn't even be on there because convicted felon, being convicted felon and stuff like that. And it wasn't until the dumbass retards in BLM and Antifa did the 2020 rioting and defunded the cops there that you had the Memphis PD area lower the fucking standards twice so that these 2 jackasses could get in there. And of course, one happened to be the ex-husband of the girl who Tyree Nichols was fucking at the time. And what happened then? You had ex-husband get all pissed off and had his fucking him and his boys go up there and be all hood and shit like that. And a little gang banging crap is what it is underneath the fucking police badge is what it is there. And then they want to sit there and fucking kill this guy. It's absolutely disgusting, dude, entirely. Just completely sickening entirely, dude. And what's even worse is the unit that they were under that was disbanded after the fact, which just because these 5 assholes were part of that doesn't mean anything, dude. Just kick them all off the fucking force and stuff like that. Put them in prison where they belong is what it is, though. And then replace them with better people in that unit is what it is, dude. Because the thing is, that unit was keeping the fucking violence down in that area. And since then, since it's been disbanded by these dumbass fucking cops and these dumbass fucking politicians, Democrats is what it is, dude. Of course you've had shit explode like fucking crazy when it comes to crime there now. So yeah, you took away something that was actually dealing with the criminal element properly. And now you got a bunch of fucking assholes running the fucking streets and thinking they're on the fucking streets now is what it is, dude. It's absolute bullshit entirely. Which brings me to my second video that we're going to talk about today, which is the following, which was yeah, let me grab something quick. This one right here, which is 3 armed felons follow man home from Dallas, Texas bank after he withdrew a large sum of cash. This is why you always need to carry. This is honestly why I advocate for every single state and every single person that's in political power right now. If your state does not allow you to have a loaded fucking AR or AK in your car, or any kind of long gun, or any kind of like AR pistol, whatever the case is, dude, then you need to replace these people in power and pass those laws. Because there is no reason to not have that kind of weaponry in your vehicle right now, dude. Especially when you have 3 carjackers. I wouldn't say carjackers. It'd be 3 guys trying to rob you of your money, and then probably also jack your car too for that matter, I'm guessing on that one. So it'd be like carjacking / robbery of these 3 gangbangers that's already committed felons, so it is there. And the thing is, had this dude been able to pull up an AR pistol, AK pistol, whatever it is, mini Draco or something like that, and just be like, pop, 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 start blasting, yeah, it would send these motherfuckers flying like crazy, dude. And you'd probably have a couple of them already taking the asphalt temperature challenge if that be the case then. And it'd be better for everybody then if that be the case. But instead, what did you have? You had this guy who, first of all, this is also why you never go directly home if you're going to go get cash or whatever out of a thing or whatever, dude. Because you have him basically pulling his vehicle in backwards there. You got the car out there, their SUV. Then they come running out real quick, guns drawn on his vehicle. You got guy number 1 here with a gun at the driver's side window. Guy number 2 that may or may not be armed, and the guy number 3 pointing another gun at the windshield. And thankfully he was stupid and decided to go over this way now, because what it did allow, it allowed homeboy, as the dude's beating on his fucking window there, to simply zip out of there. And actually that was another thing too, because they didn't do their SUV in a proper way or whatever. He was able to just zip right past their SUV and get out of there. So, but yeah, that's the problem right now with our country, dude. If you have these people who want to sit there and commit crime after crime after crime and not get anything for it, get slaps on the wrist, be in states like California or Colorado, whatever the case, where you have to have 950 in California, 650 in Colorado to even get misdemeanors for stealing shit. And you have these Democrats just incentivizing fucking criminality, dude. And I guarantee I know for a fact the same way in Hell, you had Illinois the other day, fucking retard piece of shit pedophile JB Pritzker become the first fucking idiot governor in the country to do away with cash bail in Illinois now. Like, how fucking retarded? Like, how seriously, how is this motherfucker still sitting in power right now, dude? Why is every county sheriff in Illinois not arresting this cocksucker for multiple crimes against humanity right now, dude? For that, for deprivation of the law, etc., dude. Because you're openly committing high treason level shit, dude, is what it is. So, anyway, and again, it goes back to what I said before with, this is also another one that was parenting at its finest. You have this little black toddler here hanging out with a couple little white girls, and moms basically encourage her to go fuck with the girl's shit and like knock over all their stuff they're playing with is what it is there. So, and then calling little girls little Karens and stuff like that. It's like, this is the problem with fatherless homes, by the way, is shit like that right there, dude. Like, that is 100% due to fatherless homes, due to welfare queens in the fucking system for decades. And then you wonder why you have racial unity being thrown out the fucking window now. You could have actually encouraged your child, lady, to play with these girls nicely. And guess what? They could have been fucking friends. Hell, they probably have been friends for life for that matter. But no, instead of actually having that racial unity and coming together, now you've completely racially divided everybody to where now these little girls, these two little white girls there, what is their image going to be of black children now? Or their image is going to be of black females now? Oh, I've not been traumatized for my entire life from an incident back in the day or whatever, when this person was being a piece of shit to me and their parent was being a piece of shit to me. Why would everyone hang out with these people again, dude? Is what it is. That's all you're doing. You're creating racial division is what it is there, lady. And again, it goes 100% back to fatherless home stuff, because you allow for the government to come in and be your baby daddy now, you know, put you on the dole, put you on the welfare system, everything else like that, you know, EBT, cash assistance, all that shit like that. And then you wonder why we have such a shit degrading system right now, dude, in many communities across this country. And you wonder why abortion is up like fucking crazy for that matter too. Which goes back to something else I want to talk about today, which is, I think this is an old clip, if I'm not mistaken, from a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken there, where you had this woman here. This was a couple guys at doing some pro-life stuff at a campus there. And you had this sick-ass bitch literally talking about, where'd she put it here now? Yeah. I had an abortion 2 years ago. They yanked the fetus out of my body. I'm so happy they did it. And then proceeds to try to steal this guy's mic at some point here. And he tells her straight up, he's like, "You're not stronger than I am," which I thought was funny. To the point where he then calls the cops over. And rightfully the cops fucking arrest her dumbass. Because she won't just let the shit go and leave, basically. And that's the problem, dude. And I guarantee you, this ignorant bitch right here, who couldn't be a college professor, is just like the piece of shit woman behind that other video of that little girl. It's these dumbass fucking black females like that want to sit there and fuck with life and fuck with, you know, society in general is what it is. And then they wonder why they're the fucking problem is what it is in many cases, dude. And it's not even just them either, for that matter. It's like, you look at all these like white liberals too, for that matter, that are females and beta males and shit like that, dude. It's like, and why do we have the 19th and 26th Amendments by default for voting again? You know? It does make you wonder, honestly. So, but yeah, it's like, it's just craziness, dude. And then again, when you have these Soros-funded DAs being in places like Dallas, Texas, or various other, you know, states and stuff like that, letting these criminals off the hook is what it is, dude. With small-ass convictions or whatever the case be. And then people are all like, oh, but criminals aren't going to be able to get guns. Yet, meanwhile, in that Follow Home Robbery, you already had supposedly 3 convicted felons who managed to get their hands on legal firearms again, dude. Because, shocker, fucking criminals don't follow the law and they can find guns wherever the fuck they want to find them, dude. Hell, in most cases, they'll just literally steal a vehicle, Kia, Hyundai, whatever the case be. It's really easy to steal now. Drive it into the fucking side of a building that happens to be a gun shop, and then they'll just run in there real quick and, you know, a minute or two, fucking smash a bunch of glass cases and start stealing a bunch of handguns and shit then. Actually, one of the best Hollywood depictions of that kind of stuff was, what was that show? Mayor of Kingstown, the second season of that, more recently here. It was one of the, I think it was one of the last few episodes of this past season there for season 2. And it was basically this guy walking into a gun shop before it opened that morning and was talking to the owner guys and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, you know, I was looking at this, whatever the case be. And they're like, hey, you know, you can you can basically do your 4473 here, and you can have this, gun out the door before you even open here is what it is. And it's funny because then he's like, okay, I got to call my wife, though, to confirm, like, I can have the money or whatever the case be. And then proceeds to basically call up his crew. Crew fucking, knocks the, it was like a van or something like that through the side of the building there, jumps out, and they just start jacking everything and stuff like that. And of course, they outgunned the dudes in that situation because both the guys that were in the shop there were armed, obviously. But the thing is, when you have handguns versus the guys coming out of the van having, ARs, AKs, etc. there, you're outgunned immediately, dude. Because rifle beats handgun every time is what it is. It's going to be more accurate. It's going to be a higher caliber, easier to, be able to take down at long ranges and stuff like that, a target and whatnot. So, yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, so the entire point is, though, it's like you have these people that are going to do this stuff no matter what, and that's the problem right now. And when you have these Democrats in power that keep bitching about gun violence and stuff like that, and when it's really gang violence in many cases, and the whole point of it is it's like their gun violence is all stolen firearms, like 99% of the time is what it is. And yet they'll never actually admit that part because their fucking end game is to go full Hitler and to disarm Americans. It's just the exact same reason, going back to here in Ohio the other day when I talked about yesterday, I believe it was, the day before that, in the hearing the other day for House Bill 189 here in Ohio, which was about, doing away with tax and ammo or doing away with taxation on guns and ammo. You had that piece of shit Democrat, Daniel Troy, who's an old douchebag and possibly pedophile at this point. Not sure if we can actually catch this guy in the act or not, but wouldn't be surprised about it if it did happen at some point there. If something came out where he has some kids like coming back and Me Too his ass or whatever the case be. But anyway, the entire point is, though, you have this dude who is openly advocating for trying to amend that great piece of legislation by putting in universal background checks. There's nothing more than Hitlerian level gun rosters. And yet the General Assembly's not throwing out Daniel Troy yet in the last couple of days. Which is exactly what we at the network are going to try our hardest right now by the end of the year to get into his district there, get people there to basically start recalling his ass through Article 1, Section 2 of the Ohio Constitution and remove this fucker from office once and for all is what it is then. So, anyway. But, let's see here now. Is there anything else I want to talk about today? Let me go see if I can find some stuff right now. I'm actually going to go back to Twitter there. Actually, let me just go look up. I'm just going to go do a Google search right now and look up literally do a Follow Home Robbery search there. And see what all pops up here. Actually, you know what? Let's actually go to YouTube right now, all right? And let's look up the term Follow Home Robbery and see how many pop up right now. Okay, all I have to type in is the word follow, and it comes up with home robberies after that, dude. That should tell you how many there really are, people. Jesus Christ. All right, so let's go ahead and do a screen share here of everything on YouTube currently. Let's see. A year ago, Los Angeles sees prevalence of follow home robberies. A year ago, LAPD investigating more than 100 follow home robberies. 1 year ago, follow home robberies. A year ago, follow home robberies in LAPD. 4 months ago, a couple in Bentley shot at allegedly follow home robbery attempt in Valley Village. Let's see. Female struck by vehicle during follow home robberies. Follow home robberies rise. That was actually a GMA a year ago. 11 months ago, LAPD looking for more victims, follow home robbery suspects. A year ago, follow home robberies at gunpoint. DTLA, follow home robberies caught on camera. LAPD, follow home robberies, follow home robberies, follow home robberies, follow home robberies. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. And you look at who the suspects are in this, right? It's all the same fucking people, dude. It's all One fucking group of individuals. Seriously. It's all the ones who, in many cases, I'm not sure exactly what the Follow Home rate is in that community, but yeah, legitimately, dude, it's like very, very fucking high, and it correlates directly to Follow Home Robberies, baby. Which, by the way, I've actually heard of another one too, by the way, for that matter, where it's actually gun range Follow Home Robberies, where it's people going to the gun range, and this is actually some people in Texas told me this, where it was, if you, depending on where you're at in Texas there, if you go to a gun range and you have like some kind of stickers on the back of your vehicle, like, you know, SIG or Glock, Taurus, whatever it is there, like any kind of, you know, gun insignia kind of stickers would be then, or it's like, you know, defense or something like that, or it'd be, you know, like I support the Second Amendment sticker or something like that is what it is, or like maybe like a we don't call 911, we call 1911 sticker or something like that is what it'd be then, or a decal or whatever then. These people will look for that, and they will follow these vehicles home from the gun range, wait for the person to go inside with like the first load or whatever it is there, and then run up real quick and steal the rest of their guns out of their vehicle is what it is there. So, or they might even wait for them to come out of the gun range and then rob them at the gun range is what it is there, or any kind of place in between. Because I've heard of a few different ones like that where it was basically you had some dude going from the gun range, had to stop and get gas, whatever the case be, the gas station, and you literally had people come up there and like jack his car. That's what it was, with all of his guns in it after the fact. Then, so yeah, it's a problem, dude. And it also reminds me very much of that one. I can't remember if it was California or Texas, where it happened. Was the Asian woman that got, you know, basically tossed into the ground and had that dude basically steal off her cash and stuff like that. It was one of the ones that AK Nation was talking about a while ago. And he specifically said, he was going on the whole Sunman thing is what it was there. And he was discussing how if you're going to do anything like go to a bank or whatever the case be, do it first thing in the morning till like basically 12 in the afternoon. And then don't do it anytime after noon is what it is then. And his reasoning behind that was all these jackass criminals like that are all going to be asleep at that time. So if you're going to withdraw a large sum of money, do it at very, very early AM and stuff like that when the bank first opens. And you're not going to have an issue that we're going to be follow home robbed is what it is there, which is disgusting, by the way, to even have to talk to people that way and be like, oh no, you know, you need to go and do your banking transactions very early in the morning to not be robbed later on. It's like, or we could, I don't fucking know, actually deal with the goddamn criminal element in this fucking country once for all, dude. And that would include killing these motherfuckers, legitimately. If they're going to be violent, hardcore, convicted felons like that, dude, and just keep doing fucking felony after felony and getting back out of prison and shit like that, dude, maybe don't let them back out of fucking prison ever and potentially have it be a death penalty fucking strikes loss on the books if that be the case. You know, seriously. If you are so fucking violent that you can't even be out in regular society ever again, dude, maybe you shouldn't be alive anymore. Kind of thing. Seriously, man. Hell, Texas still has public hangings, for God's sakes. As far as I'm aware, it's the only state that does right now. Doesn't really use them too much, though. You know, even though maybe it should, truthfully speaking, might do a lot to actually incentivize everybody to stop fucking off, basically, is what it is, dude. So, to be fair, that's death penalty method in the state of Texas, though. I think it's that, and they have electric chairs and other stuff, too. I think firing squad is one of their things, too, if I'm not mistaken. Which is what Ohio should have had a long time ago at this point. But, yeah. Like, sometimes motherfuckers need to be put down, is what it is. And the issue becomes when they think that they're going to outgun you, or they think you're going to be able to, you know, take you out, like, you know, 6-on-1, 7-on-1, whatever it is, dude. That's the issue. Because then it's going to end up being a situation there where all that's going to end up happening is you're going to get fucked in the long run. And just like we saw with that dude, like, thankfully that guy was able to get away from these dudes. The problem is, though, you have him driving this way, you have them driving off that way. Guess what? They now know where you live, motherfucker. All they have to do is come back into that cul-de-sac later that night and just fucking home invade you then. And that's probably what they're going to do, honestly. So yeah, like that was a terrible mistake on that guy's part to even go directly home like that, dude. He should have got the money, gone and spent some buying a gun and some ammo at a gun shop that day. And then, went outside, loaded up his fucking magazine of his gun with some ammo in it and stuff like that. Started carrying that gun immediately. Because obviously you can constitutional carry the state of Texas now is what it is. And then guess what? He would have got that drop on their asses because, shocker, he's now fucking armed. So, But yeah, it's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And it's disgusting. And really it goes to show, like, when you have people trying to racially segregate our country again through, various things like, what I think I was saying now. Yeah, racial segregation through having their own graduation ceremonies and stuff like that is what it is there. Because in many cases, that's what they want. They want racial segregation again, dude. And it's like, okay, cool. Take this part of California. We'll let you run it. We'll let you have it. Now fuck off, is what it is. Actually, that was one interesting thing. I was watching one of AK Nation News' streams here a little while ago. A couple days back now is what it was. And it was from... There's a channel here on YouTube. I forget what it's called offhand. But basically it does... If you look into it, it does a bunch of news reports from back in like the... I want to say it's like late 50s, like all the way up to like the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. And it's like various like police footage and like police interviews and stuff like that, like residential interviews for like various news stations from back in those days and stuff like that. And it was back in I want to say it was either right during Vietnam or it was right after Vietnam. So it would have been like late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. And it was back when you had Compton, California, I believe was what it was. And it was them talking about how they basically gave that entire city in California to the black community is what it was. It was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, every single person that in the city council and the mayor were all black and stuff like that. And it had, a bunch of residents coming in there and were minorities and stuff like that too as well. And the thing of it was, it showed in the time span of like less than a year how shitty a place can become, because it went from being a decent neighborhood to where now it turned into white flight. And then it turned into all these people that were there that were, like the sort of upper educated and like families that wanted to be there that were black people and stuff like that, that were like, I want the fuck out of here too now. Because it was all these people that were like Section 8 housing motherfuckers coming in there and being given things and then defaulting on their mortgages and stuff like that and causing the shit to go down criminal-wise. And it's like, yeah, they literally ruined a fucking entire city in like the time span of like 6 months or something. And yet you wonder why people are suspect now when people are like, we need to have all these minorities in power now and stuff like that. And it's interesting too, and I bring that particular thing up too for the fact of the matter. When you look at all these Democrats who are in power right now in these major cities and stuff like that, dude, across the board, when you start bringing race into it, almost every one of them that are black Democrat mayors, whether it be male, female, etc., are some of the worst run places in this country, honestly, dude. And then if it's run by white Democrats, it's almost as worse too, for that matter. Like it's slightly better, but not by much. Like it's basically like, if it was like 90% criminal, it would be like 89% criminal underneath like people like Andrew Ginther and shit like that. So yeah, it's basically a Democrat Party in a nutshell, dude. It's everything they touch turns to shit, is what it is, man. And that's the problem. It's them basically passing laws, passing ordinances and stuff like that to incentivize criminality, and then being like, oh, I'm so shocked that there's criminals everywhere in my city now. I don't know how to do this. Oh, I know. Let's go steal people's legal gun rights, because that'll definitely fix the fucking problem forever. Except it totally fucking won't. Ever. You fucking ass clown, oath-breaking sacks of shit. So, yeah. Needless to say, I'm just fucking over it, dude. I really am. I'm so sick and tired of all of it. And it does kind of make me wonder, honestly, if we did have something where we just did like a separation of this country right now and just sort of chopped up a few states here and there and was like, okay, Anybody that wants to go have basically an ethno state of any kind of race, like, you know, raise your hand. Okay, you guys over here, 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 et cetera, there. And then just do that experiment for like 3 years or something like that and find out, like, of the 5 of them or whatever it is there, like, which one's going to be the best and, like, least violent, basically. And then you'd find out, like, which one's the most violent no matter what. And then it would basically, you know, the problem would solve itself. That's the case in most cases. So it's just like, trying to think how. I want to say it was rapper T.I., but I could be wrong about that one. It was one of those guys like that who came out the other day and was talking about buying, like, some African, like, some part of, like, some African continent or whatever it was there, and basically having people, like, buy their way in, and he would need, like, I think it was like $6 billion or $7 billion to get it started or something like that for, like, this crazy, like, little minority, like, village, basically what he was talking about there. And it's like, bro, you are totally fucking grifting the people at that point. There is no way that's going to cost $7 billion to do that shit. I know that for a fact because I know that my cousin, who is actually an African missionary, this man has done so much for these villages over there. He could basically take a few $1,000,000 and make a livable place for like a couple thousand people, honestly. So to sit there and say, oh, you need like billions of dollars for like a couple thousand people, like, nah, you're bullshitting, dude, entirely. You're gonna embezzle the hell of that money more than they did with the what was that one? It's like I wanted to say Fire Island, but it's not what it was. Like Fire Fest or something. Whatever that one was that the Hollywood did a few years ago, and it was turned to be some like grifter guy basically stealing, you know, tens of millions of dollars from people is what it was there. It'd be the same shit there. Or it'd be like Bernie Madoff talking to people like Kevin Bacon, etc. there about the Ponzi scheme he had going, and it was like, yeah, you know, I'm such a good real estate guy, or whatever it was there. It's like, I can give you an investment, and you're going to make like 10 times your investment, or whatever. The Kevin Bacon's all like, take my money, brother. And then that's why Kevin Bacon's still acting to this day, by the way, is because his dumbass legitimately gave like millions of dollars to Bernie Madoff, and then Bernie Madoff made off with all the money is what it was. So, at least for a while until he was caught then. But that's the one thing, right? Had Bernie Madoff been grifting like everyday people and not Hollywood, like celebrities had a bunch of money and stuff like that, dude, or a bunch of rich people and stuff like that, nobody would have given a shit if he had fleeced, you know, millions and millions of regular Americans out of millions of dollars. But yet, because he did several $1 million up from a bunch of different people there in Hollywood and shit like that, now they were all basically calling for his head. And that's why he got arrested. And again, it goes back to your justice in our society there. You know, if you're robbed from the poor, nobody really gives a shit. If you're robbed from the rich, oh, you're going to prison right now. So, yeah, it's a bunch of shit entirely. So, I do ask this to everybody out there that was watching today. And it's something we'll talk about in the future as well, for that matter, which is basically, if somebody does try to, you know, jack you or whatever the case be, what would you do? Do you carry? Number one, actually, is the better question. Do you carry, and what would you do? Would you stand your ground? Would you be outgunned? Would you do like that guy did and have potentially an exit strategy where you could just zip out of there real quick? Would you not try to put yourself in that situation to begin with? Because you're not going to take out tens of thousands of dollars from a place at one time. Actually, going back to the Follow Home Robbery thing. Woman followed home from ATM, boxed in and robbed in Oakland, California. Police investigating Follow Home Robbery in North Hollywood. Yeah, it seems like all these are California, honestly, dude. Which is interesting when you think about it, right? Because it's legitimately, shocker, one of the biggest anti-gun hell pockets in this entire country right now, dude. So it actually makes sense now. You know? Then we got another one here, which is a video. Follow home robbery caught in surveillance video as victims waited for elevator. That one's just sad. That was another one right there, actually. I remember seeing this one because this was about a year ago this happened. This is one where, honestly, had those dudes been able to legally carry that day, when they were just sitting there waiting for the elevator, you could have basically had, like, as soon as that door went flying open, they could have been like, pop, 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 pop. And just don't need to be done there at that point. And taking everybody out then. So... there was actually, I think about it when I'm talking about follow home robberies and stuff like that. There was actually one here in Cleveland where it was a guy recently, and I say recently as in sometime earlier this year is what it was, like April, May, maybe someplace in there, June, possibly even. You had a bunch of dudes who were false impersonating police because they had the cherries and stuff on the vehicles, what it was there. And they were doing basically carjackings of people is what it was there, where they would rob them and then they would steal their cars after the fact. And you had one guy who was actually a concealed carry holder in the state of Ohio, but he's like, yeah, man, like I had my gun on me, but there was like 6 or 7 of these guys all armed with mini Dracos, etc. And so I just gave my gun to them. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, honestly, like, because again, I've never really been in that particular situation myself like that, where it'd be me versus like a bunch of people and stuff, dude. But honestly, like, I'm pissed off enough anymore, personally, that I'd probably just pull the gun and start blasting, to be honest with you guys, dude. Like, I'd be like, I'm not gonna have these motherfuckers take my vehicle and take me out today, kind of thing. And I just start bang, bang, banging at that point on them and stuff, dude. And because the thing is, usually, you know, most of these people are fucking cowards. Like, they're a bunch of pussies, is what it is. And, you know, when bullets start flying, there's a good majority of them that will just start running like a bunch of bitches, is what it is, dude. They'll start running like scary ass bitches back to the vehicle and driving off, whatever the case be. It's kind of like that one in that famous one now from California, where you had the old store clerk guy with the shotgun, and you had multiple black dudes going in with ARs and stuff like that. And he literally, boom, the first guy and stuff like that. And the guy's like, oh, I shot my arm off. And you had the rest of them jump back out of there as quick as possible and try to drive off without their buddy, getting in the vehicle again. Yeah, and unfortunately, that store clerk ended up dying then of his, because he had like a massive heart attack after that, or whatever the case be. He ended up dying from the heart attack, if I'm not mistaken, after that fact. So, but yeah, like, he did what needed to be done to save his business from being robbed and, you know, everything else like that. And you had them flee like a motherfucker is what it was. And the thing with that was, because of the fact, there is a small, like, I'm not going to say it's a small, like, I think it's a smaller percentage. I'm not going to say it's a small percentage anymore, because I think it's becoming slightly bigger now. Like, there's definitely a subset of people, like maybe this big or whatever, that would actually still get into a gun battle with you, no matter what. But yeah, there's a huge swath of people that bullets start flying, they're going to be ducking their asses off and running for cover is what it is, man. And if that means running back to a vehicle and driving off as fast as possible, that's usually what it means. So, I don't know. I feel like that guy, that dude particularly, was not very smart to give up his gun like that, because of the fact that it's like, now you just gave this crew of criminals another firearm that they can use in future robberies there. So, I don't know. The thing is, I get it from his perspective and stuff like that, because I believe he was a father and stuff like that, and he had a couple kids and whatnot. So I understand it from that perspective of like, yeah, you want to be there for your kids and everything else like that, dude. But at the same time, it's like, do you also not want to be the hero? You know? Maybe that's what my thing is. Maybe I have a heroic complex going on myself, if that'd be the case. You know? I don't know. I just feel like, in general, it's something where you see it happening. I think eventually the cops eventually did catch a couple of the guys there, so it was, and then they rolled around some of their buddies there. So I think they did eventually get that crew a few months ago, so it was then. The thing is, though, it took them so long to do it, where they could have basically been stopped in their tracks that night with that guy. You know? And again, it goes back to the fact of like, okay, you're a concealed carry holder for the purpose specifically of keeping yourself safe in an unsafe environment. But yet, when the time came to actually use that tool in self-defense, you pussed out, dude. So, I don't know. Obviously, you know, I've watched that actor self-protection guy a few times and whatnot throughout the last couple of years is what it was. I know that guy always talks about like never drawing from the drop, never drawing on a drawn gun or whatever it is there. And I get that. And it is a smart, you know, play to think about. Like, yeah, if you ever see the opportunity where, you know, people's looking away, whatever the case be, it's like, yeah, grab out your gun and start firing or whatever then. So, I don't know. I just feel like there's definitely something that could be done here. Actually, let me look it up real quick now. Police impersonator, Ohio. Okay, this is from 2 years ago. Impersonators. Is it Cleveland, I think? Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, this is from 8 years ago, 5 months ago. Oh, here we go. Fifth indictment reported for criminals impersonating Cleveland police officers. This is 5 months ago. Okay, here you go. Yeah, Cleveland police confirmed suspect arrested in case involving officer impersonations. Okay, so this is the ones I was looking for here then. So yeah, they did actually catch the guys then. Yeah, so Cleveland Division of Police is alerting public of troubling stirring of crimes that have taken place recently in the city. Individuals have been posing as Cleveland cops using red and blue strobe lights to trick people into thinking that they are being pulled over for a traffic stop. When the unknowing victim pulls over, suspects rob them at gunpoint. Cleveland police revealed a fifth incident that took place. Okay, so sorry, I thought they actually indicted the guys. No, it was fifth incident took place 5 months ago. Yeah, I'm not sure if they ever did catch these guys or not. Then if that be the case, man, shit. So, let me go look that up on in a Google search right now, and I'm thinking about it because now I really want to know if this is actually if they actually got these guys or not. Now, Cleveland, Ohio police impersonators. Okay, let's see. Cleveland police confirmed suspect arrested in case. That was from April 4th. Let's see here. Okay, so if they got the one guy, that doesn't mean they got all of them, though. Yeah, we'll talk about this one for a sec. That was what it is now. This is a local affiliate here. Yeah, one arrested in police impersonation case. But yet there was like 6 or 7 of them, so where's the other 6 or 7, dude? Like, seriously. So, or the 5 or 6 or whatever there. Yeah, so one man is in custody after allegedly impersonating a police officer and stopping drivers before robbing them. Police said there have been 5 attacks since March 7th involving police victims, mainly SUVs. So according to Cleveland Police Sergeant, around 10 a.m. on Tuesday, this is back in April, so the police officer spotted one of the vehicles used by suspects and followed the vehicle from the city's west side to Slavic Village in the area of East 71st Street and some other street. Suspect bailed from his Dodge Durango and ran into the stranger's home. He then locked the door. Why the fuck would you have your doors unlocked? Jesus, like, dude, honestly, the best thing that could have happened in that situation was dude runs into the house and immediately gets shot by the homeowner, honestly. It's a standard ground situation. Anyway, it says U.S. Marshals responded to the scene, took him into custody without incident. Shortly afterwards, his name is not being released at the time. Male was arrested initially for outstanding felony drug warrant and tampering with evidence. Other charges are still being investigated. Matter remains under investigation, according to Cleveland cops. Residents were home at the time, but they were not injured. So the police sergeant there added that they are still looking for at least 3 other suspects and 2 other vehicles involved. Let's see. Cleveland police released photos of the other vehicles involved, including a Dodge Durango as well as a black Jeep Cherokee, etc. Yeah, these are the vehicles they were using to rob people then. Jesus. Yeah, this is how it went down here. It says investigators provided information about each robbery. It said March 7th, 2023. Around 2:40 a.m., a black male was traveling on Route 2 at West 45th Street exit when a vehicle displayed police emergency lights, pulled him over. Suspect robbed him at gunpoint. It was a vehicle. Suspect vehicle in that incident was possibly a dark-colored Honda Accord. Let's see. March 28th, approximately 9:30 a.m. Another area, a man was approached and pulled over by suspects in a dark-colored Jeep Grand Cherokee displaying police lights and was then robbed at gunpoint. March 31st, a few days later, approximately 9:55 p.m., suspects in a Volkswagen SUV displayed police emergency lights, pulled over. April 1st, 2023, approximately 3 a.m. on a 3000 block. Suspects driving a Kia Sportage displayed police emergency lights and pulled over and robbed victim was a property in a vehicle at gunpoint. Robbed victim was a property at gunpoint. And then April 2nd, at approximately 6:20 p.m., so the victim reported he was driving and was followed by a vehicle which utilized police lights in an attempt to pull him over. Victim further stated that the suspect brandished a firearm and was wearing a bulletproof ballistics vest. Victim called 911 and remained on the line with dispatch as he drove to the 3rd District Police Station. While driving to the police station, suspect vehicle went another direction. Suspect vehicle is described as a black Dodge Durango, heavily tinted windows, etc., etc. Yeah, I want to say it was that first one, maybe. Or no, it wouldn't have been that first one. It would have been... I'm trying to think now. Let's see, that was 2. It was either the 3rd or the 4th one then. So it was either the 31st one or it was the April 1st one. Was the dude who had his gun taken from him then. So, but yeah, it's just pathetic, dude, is what it is. And again, it's like, you know, at what point do we start dealing with the criminal element in this country again, man? Like, honestly, the only thing that we would need to change from the 90s would be having a slight change up in the 3 strikes laws, where it wouldn't be like race-based like Biden's racist ass did and stuff like that, but it would be just like, yeah, if you do like violent crimes to a certain extent, it's like 1, 2, or 3 strikes for that matter. If it's like, if you do something so violent, you should never be allowed again, like, boom, you're 1 striked out. You do something, you know, you get a second chance or whatever, it's like the 2nd strike, boom, you're striked out, and then it's up to 3 strikes is what it would be then. Or like I said, potentially it could be up to a 5 strike law for that matter, where it's like, you know, just doing things differently is what it is. And the real thing I think that would start, truthfully, would be at the same time that we're doing all this, you would actually have what would be the sort of minimum security prisons right now, whatever the case be, that wouldn't really be prisons anymore per se, but they would actually be like almost like prison rehab is what I would call it, basically, like the best way I can describe it currently. I'm trying to think of a better name for it, but I can't really think of one offhand. But yeah, basically what it would be is it would be these people that would be, you know, potentially instead of having them, you know, that recidivism rate continue on when they get back out, not being able to get jobs and stuff again, it would be turned into like almost a, how am I thinking this now? Like a trade school kind of deal almost, where it would be like, okay, you know, you have displayed that you're obviously a non-violent criminal and stuff like that or whatever here. Like maybe you're in for like check cashing or something else like that. You know, you're obviously going to do your time here. Meanwhile, we're going to give you elements to better yourself inside so that when you get out again, you can actually get into gainful employment is what it is then. And I think that's the problem right now is we don't do that currently, because why would you when the people in power, you know, all the powers that be right now, all the people that are in Congress, Senate, et cetera, there are all criminals to giant corporations and various lobbying groups and stuff like that want to lobby for privatized prison systems being, you know, cash profit system is what it is at the end of the day. And yeah, that's the problem right now. Ending privatized prisons in this country is where it needs to start, honestly. And then turning the ones that are like minimum security prisons into almost like a rehab kind of place where it's like, yeah, you're going to be able to get out and we're going to better you while you're inside, educational wise, to where when you get out, you can actually have you can actually be a functional member of society again and actually have a job to go to and potentially have something lined up immediately then, if that be the case. And that's the thing. You're giving these people a second chance at life to better themselves when they get out there. And especially if it's, you know, a father or a mother, whatever the case be, you know, somebody has children out there that would want to do better for their kids later on or whatever, dude. Like, those are the people that we should want to help, honestly. So it's not just like throwing everybody away and like, you know, just being like, oh, you're all pieces of shit, like go away now, whatever the case be. No, it's like, we're going to help out these particular people here. They're the non-violent criminals. It's like, no, we're going to bring in the 3 strikes law shit though, for the super violent criminals is what it is there. That are going to be the ones doing all kinds of crazy shit, dude. Whether it be follow home robberies, whether it be, you know, child molestation, whether it be, you know, serial killing and stuff like that, whatever the case be there. You know, mass murderers, all that stuff like that, dude. So, anyway. But anywho. Yeah, I was hoping Corey would come on today, but apparently he's not around, so I'm going to go check Discord real quick just to confirm. All right. I'm going to send him a message because his thing is like half displayed there, whatever. All right. Send him a message. We'll see if he hops in here or not. If he doesn't, it's whatever. But yeah, I'm probably going to call it here in the next 3 to 5 minutes, honestly. But yeah, it's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And it's sad that we even have to go, down this road to where you have violent criminals being basically given slaps on the wrist. So, And then, of course, one of the things I want to talk about right now before we do leave today, of course, you got all this bullshit going on at our border right now, which is caravans of illegals everywhere. How is this not a foreign invasion, an act of war, etc.? Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, we're not treating it as such. Let's see, we got Justin, Mayor Brandon Johnson defies his residence, secretly signs $26 million contract to build camps for illegal aliens. Guess this is what you get when you vote for a communist. Well, yeah, exactly. And that's the sad part, right? Like, especially there in Chicago, like, they have the ability to have what would be considered like a moderate Democrat, and the other dude, which was the old white guy who was like in teaching or whatever there. I think he was Paul something or other. And who did they choose? They chose the idiot in the fucking primary. So it's like, y'all fucked yourselves on that one, Democrats. Actually, I don't think it was a primary now I'm thinking about it. I think it was a runoff because it was basically Johnson and the other guy didn't have enough to actually get through to like just be the nominee. So it was like two of them had to run off was what it was then, like some other race or something. And yeah, these dumbasses voted for Johnson's dumbass instead of voting for the other guy. That could have actually helped them fix their damn state, or not their state, help them fix part of their state in their damn city is what it is there. So it's just sad, man. And you would think after that moron Lori Lightfoot, like it couldn't get much worse, but no, it gets so much worse. It is so much worse. Oh man. Then we got here, Texas should take notes from Poland. This is how you take control of the border, and it's literally Polish people just like shooting water cannons at people. I'm gonna go ahead and just repost that to my to the network's Twitter account. There you go. I can watch it over there then. I'm not going to show it just in case I don't think a channel strike is what it is. Not sure if we're going to get one today from this shit that I've already showed today or not. Better not. YouTube, because it was all for educational purposes, people. What the hell? Okay, this is super confusing. I'm not sure what the fuck that even is, but there's people like putting fingers up and down or whatever. Ugh. I should stop looking at Twitter because it just gets so much worse in the feed now. It was like some just ugly woman with like, what the fuck? She basically had like part of her cheeks like puffed out and another part's like sucked in, and she just looks like a fucked up alien, man. Crazy. So you got lives of TikTok. LGBTQ activist claims that not being trans and not being straight is a trauma response? Oh, no, sorry. Not being trans and being straight is a trauma response. What the fuck? God, like, why do we not have mental institutionalization in this country, man? Seriously. Like, why? Why don't we have these things? Let's see. Then we got Ukrainian media edited Zelensky's UN speech to make it look like he had a bigger audience. They forgot to edit out Zelensky himself sitting in the audience at the 14-second mark. That was much, much smaller. What a bunch of fucking idiots, dude. This is the one thing I don't get about that whole thing, right? Why is Zelensky not being brought up on war crimes at this point? And like crimes against humanity, etc. Like the guy's clued on all that shit, dude. Man, this is I'm gonna show this picture. This is an awkward ass picture there for McCarthy, that fucking Zelensky guy, and that idiot Jeffries. Dude, that guy is like a fucking midget for real. Jeffries just looks like a straight demon still. McCarthy just looks like a robot, honestly. So, or actually, maybe somebody being held hostage for that. Actually, that's kind of what McCarthy looks like now. I'm thinking about it. It looks like somebody being held hostage for this photo is what it is. That's a good one. Let's see. Definition of a socialist: someone who wants everything you have except your job. Yep. Exactly. Aw, that's cute. Buffalo helps out a flipped over turtle. Everybody's like, yay! I'm about to go ahead and save that one for later to drop in the Discord. Yeah, let's see what this one is. Okay. Idiot Frank LaRoche talking about some bullshit. Let's see here, you got child caught smoking and driving in LA. Not going to show that for obvious reasons. Hmm. Oh, fuck. I'll have to watch this clip later because I'm not sure what the hell it is, and it's sort of confusing to me. I think it's a woman banging a much younger man, but I could be wrong about that one. Obviously, they're both legal adults, just to be clear on that one. Let's see here. Post-millennial father describes why he participated in 1 million March for Children in Toronto, Canada. Look how many... Okay, actually, I'm going to read this one because this is a feel-good story of the day right here. This guy appears to be some kind of Arabic or something, probably. Says, look at how many skin colors, religions, look how many people are united. Why? Because we have one thing in common, and that's our children. Nobody will ever back down from their children. He's right about that one. And that's the thing. For those wondering about that one, that particular march today there in Canada had to do with the fact they wanted these indoctrinators to fuck out of other school systems what it was up there in Canada, because they're trying to push trans ideology and like basically gay agenda is what it is there, and racial agenda and stuff like that. And that's what it is, dude. It's a way to racially divide our countries, and it's all globalist shit at the end of the day. That's all it is, man. So this one is actually kind of disgusting. The sign that this kid's holding, because it really is like brainwashing shit. And I guarantee there's some BLM march here. I'm not going to show the picture, but the kid's sign says, they kill our dads, then make fun of us for not having one. Who is they, child? Are you talking about the police? Are you talking about the Democrat Party? Like, seriously, who is they? Needs to know, man. Let's see, we got Texas Rep. Troy something or other getting in on the action, telling Jerry Nadler to pipe down while drilling Merrick Garland yesterday. Mr. Pants shit himself. Let's see what Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, is talking about right now. Fucking love Kevin Sorbo, man. That guy's like one of the only good conservatives in Hollywood, by the way. So imagine you tried to lock your front door to stop intruders, and Biden came with a key saying that's inhumane and forced you to keep your door open. That's what's happening at our border right now. Exactly. Then we got Attorney General Ken Paxton explains how Democrats stole the election in 2020, then stopped counting votes on election night. Interview with Tucker Carlson, where he also talks about how Jesus Christ is what saved him from being impeached there in Texas. Yes and no, Ken Paxton. What saved you from being impeached, buddy, was the fact you did nothing wrong, and you had the Bush cartel, specifically. It was a bunch of little cunts in the Texas General Assembly who were rhino fuckers who need to be tossed in office right now for the Department of Laws, what it is, and multiple other felonies for that matter as well on top of that, who basically were friends with the Bush family. George P. Bush, who was the son of Jeb Bush, and the nephew of George W. Bush, and also the grandson of George H.W. Bush, was trying to run in a primary against Ken Paxton in 2022 midterms, lost handedly because he's a piece of shit, And of course, the Bush family and their cartel regime people there in the power, that were already in power and stuff like that, got all pissy about it. We're like, we want Ken Paxton gone because we want our Bushy back in there again to fuck over everybody and embezzle and everything else like that. And so, yeah, you had them bring up the sham ass impeachment to the point where you had legitimately a bunch of ass wipes during the fucking impeachment trial have the audacity to say, we contacted the FBI with no evidence of Ken Paxton doing anything wrong, but we just assumed that this trial would prove that he did something wrong because we would just find the evidence at some point. How the fuck are you still sitting in office after that, man? How are you not in Texas State Prison right now on a bunch of fucking criminal shit right now, dude? Seriously. Like, those guys should be brought up on so many different felonies, it's not even funny right now. Both at the state level and at a federal level, for that matter. So, yeah, it's just insane, man. People are sharing that one clip again of the whatever podcast where it was the crazy looking trainee talking about I am Optimus Prime. That Kiko chick, man, that girl is fucked. The chick that was the actual biological female that was sitting next to that girl, the trainee one. Yeah, Kiko is fucked in the head too, man. Like, that girl is a great example of victim mentality that Candace Owens always talked about. So, anyway. See, culture of enrichment we hear about so much. Okay, not going to show that one, obviously. Pretty sure this is overseas where these guys are having a machete fight. I'm going to go ahead and show that to the network's page, though, so if anyone wants to check that out later. So, okay, I think we've got to finish off today's episode on this one, man. This is a feel good story. So you got your Jeep. Nailed it. Little buddy riding shotgun. That's awesome. I love the doggos. I'm going to go ahead and share that one too. Go ahead and save that one for later as well to share to the Discord, like Animal Goodness or something, maybe. Let's see. I'm actually gonna read this meme because it sounds kind of funny. Actually, I do want to show some too that I found yesterday that I thought was pretty hilarious. But yeah, this person says, so you see, in this day and age, when a homosexual coworker sneezes, it's more appropriate to say bless you instead of hit the deck. I'm not gonna read the rest of that, dude. But yeah, it's funny. But yeah, because it did say the word AIDS in that, which I thought was kind of funny because of the fact, holy shit. Oh my god, bro. This one is fuck. I'm actually gonna go ahead and reshare this one too, because this is talking about a mother in one of these Asian countries having 9 kids and was pregnant with all 9 of them for 9 months. That's nuts, dude. Because usually you'd have a labor induced at like 6 or 7, honestly, at most is where you go up to. Usually it's like 6 or 7. Usually about 5.5 to 6 months, give or take. And sometimes the kids don't survive. They survive as all NICU stuff or whatever there. So, but yeah, the one thing I did want to share from earlier was, let's see, where's it at here right now? Jesus, where did it go now? Okay, let's see here. Here we are. I think y'all remember that MLK statue they did a while ago where it almost looked like a mix between like a piece of shit and a giant dick. Well, now we got this one, which is controversy over planned AIDS memorial. New AIDS memorial sculpture is butthole of local jokes. It's a butthole. Yeah. I mean, the memes just write themselves, man. Honestly, in so many cases. There's somebody else responded here and said, "Where are the Surfers?" That was not a bad band back in the day, the Butthole Surfers. Yeah, I think they had a couple good hits. I don't believe they were one hit wonder. They were like a 2-hit wonder, maybe. So, but yeah, it is funny though, man, because it does. It shows like exactly the craziness there is what it is, and it's all pretty wild, man. So, anyway, but yeah, needless to say, I could not imagine having 9 kids in one shot, man. Like, whew, buddy. Talk about having need to have some wet nurses on staff or something at that point, man. Because you would definitely be having to have several, since mom can only do 2 at a time if that be the case, and that milk's going to drop real quick. So, yeah, you pretty much have to have either wet nurses or just be buying a bunch of breast milk from other people or whatever the case be there, a bunch of other couples and whatnot. So, anyway, but unfortunately, Corey did not come today, so he can't talk about 2A scenario stuff, whatever. But hopefully next week. Just to be clear, though, if we do get a channel strike on this channel, check out the Lace Anarchy channel. That is the backup channel right now for any future streams and stuff like that. And we will hopefully be back tomorrow for Freedom Friday. Not sure what the topic of the day will be. Maybe I'll talk about some more with Michelle Lipin Grisham's dumbass finally being told to fuck herself right now and being slapped down in every which way possible by people, except not being arrested, even though she should be totally arrested, because she is a fucking scumbag, criminal, oath-breaking tyrant, and should be arrested on tyranny and a bunch of other charges for that matter. But figure out finish the rest of this while it's still a little bit cold. Maybe I can go wash this out now. Grab my other one with some water in it here. Take a sip of that too. But anywho, so yeah, basically, Grisham finally got told to fuck off. She should be arrested by every single sitting sheriff in the state of New Mexico, and she should be used as a test case against Democrats who are trying to grab guns. And exactly why we need to toss all these fuckers in prison where they belong is what it is, man. So, anyway. But, yeah, we're still winning the fight to some extent on the 2A is what it is. Also, apparently, you've now had Hunter Biden having FPC basically talk about backing him in court cases now and stuff for the gun charge stuff. I don't disagree with it, honestly. I think they should. If I had financial means to do so, I might too as well for that matter. But unfortunately, the network does not have those financial means to do that right now. And the only reason that we would back him on the gun charge thing is because that's bullshit charges. That being said, Hunter Biden can go fuck himself for everything he's ever done now and should be in federal prison for a bunch of things, including raping children. So, he should never see the light of day ever again, just like his pedophile father. He should be sharing a prison cell right now in any kind of prison in this country right now, dude. Same thing with Kamala, for that matter, too, as well. And a bunch of other Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, etc. So, anyway. That being said, that's where we're at for the day. Like I said, hopefully we'll be back for Freedom Friday tomorrow. If not on this channel, it'll be on Lola's channel. But yeah, we'll try to bring it on this channel again. We did educational purposes today, YouTube. Do not attempt to channel strike us for simply showing a few videos of various things here is what it is. So, since we're trying to educate people about follow home robberies and stuff like that's what it is there. And why you don't need to be a victim of one. And that's the entire point right now. You know, you always need to be carrying, man, because you never fucking know when today might be that day. And you might have to pull. And you should be honestly, truthfully, you should be training for that kind of stuff. Mentally and physically. You should be mentally prepared for it to happen. Always be checking out your surroundings, have your vision everywhere. Basically have that 360 around you at all times to where you know what's coming at you. Because you never know, man. You might be in a dollar store one day and some psycho comes in and starts shooting the place up. And you might have to be that person that pulls your gun and puts them down. Or you might be some person that's just, randomly in a mall or whatever the case be, and some person comes and tries to start shooting that place up. And again, you might have to be the person that pulls and responds to that interaction with deadly force, etc., etc. So, you might have to go full Eli Dickens is what it is. Or hell, you might just be minding your own fucking business on the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin, and some sick son of a bitch pedophile tries to grab your AR-15, and you have to shoot them in the dick, and then run for your life. And then some idiot with a skateboard tries to beat your fucking head in, and then grabs your gun and kills himself with it. And then some other moron comes up, tries to point their gun at you and kill you, and you pop them in the fucking bicep. Good on you, Kyle Rittenhouse. Awesome display of firearms tactics, sir. Honestly, the one thing I will give Rittenhouse on that one, man, the amount of gunfire that was happening after that whole interaction happened, I'm not so sure as an adult that I wouldn't have stopped firing until that magazine was empty. In various directions where I heard gunfire coming from in my general direction is what it would be. So, yeah. I don't know. I do think Kyle was sort of not the smartest, though, for not suing the hell out of the Kenosha PD, for that matter, for macing him in the face, for unjustly doing a bunch of stuff against him, and other things like that. Also go after Thomas Binger and that Cross guy for wrongful prosecution, etc., etc. Go after Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin, for not bringing in more National Guard troops that Trump could have sent him to squelch that shit, and so forth and so on. I would, if I was in Rittenhouse's situation, dude, it would have been the day after I was acquitted. Maybe within that week, maybe it would have been like I would have been going on like a high for a couple days, or what it is. But yeah, by the end of that week, there would have been a bunch of lawyers being called up and a shitload of lawsuits being filed against Democrat leadership right there in that state, in that city. And I would have been taking everybody's asses to task on that one for various lawsuits, etc., and getting paid millions and millions of dollars, and then going after every single person that slandered me, from Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of the assholes at The View to the people at NBC to Fox to CBS, etc., and then all the people on these social media sites too that were not, kicking off motherfuckers for falsely claiming that, them claiming that he supposedly killed 3 black people that night or whatever the case be, even though he obviously didn't. He shot 2 white guys in self-defense, which killed them, and then blew a third one's bicep off is what it was, who was also a convicted felon, by the way. All 3 of them were, actually. With Rosenbaum being the most violent of the convicted felons and being a fucking child molester of 5 boys between the ages of 9 and 11 years old. That dude should have never seen the light of day ever again in this country. And if I'm not mistaken, Rosenbaum, the place that he was being held at, was either New Mexico or Arizona State Prison. So yeah, Democrats again letting off their own. So anyway, yeah, being said, you never know if you're going to be in a Rittenhouse situation. You never know if you're going to be in a Eli Dickens situation. You never know if you're going to be in just some random situation where some nut comes in and starts shooting the place up, man. Or hell, you try to just go and pick up your kid from school or whatever the case be, and there's some nutcase doing an active shooter situation there or whatever the case be, and you have to pull your gun and engage then. Which again is also a great reason to carry a long gun with you if you can. If you have to have it unloaded in your vehicle or whatever the case be, you can just have, a bag, have the mags on the one side, have the gun on the other side, pull out the gun real quick, pull out a mag real quick, and lock and load and go engage, whatever the case be. So you stop that active threat, man. And then immediately after that, obviously take your own gun and put it on the ground and then go sit someplace way far away from that. So in case the cops come in there, they don't inadvertently shoot your ass to death like they did with that one guy a while ago who it was in Colorado, I want to say 2 years ago now or so, give or take. It was, I forget what the guy's name was offhand right now, but he was a concealed carry holder, engaged some dude who had a long gun, who was trying to kill a bunch of people who was strip mall of some kind, shot and killed this guy in self-defense, proceeded to go over, grab his rifle to try to clear it so it was not loaded or anything else like that. And of course, right then and there, fucking dumbass cops show up, think he's the active shooter, and bang, 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 kill him. And then proceed to basically, try to basically play it off as if, oh, we thought he was the active shooter, so we shouldn't be sued to the ground. Yes, you should be, entirely. And I think his family has an active lawsuit going against the city and the state for that guy's wrongful death. That's what it is there. So, yeah, unfortunately, you got to watch on that one, dude. And it's also a great reason why you just simply, reholster your firearm, whatever the case be, and sit there and just sort of watch, make sure the guy's not, moving again or whatever the case be, and wait for, again, LEOs to come in and, be like, hey, I'm not an active shooter, I stopped this guy. Like, make sure they know what's up, so that way they don't shoot and kill you is what it is. So, anyway. Yeah, unfortunately, too many have had that happen to them. Oh, I totally agree. It was not a smart thing. And I think that guy's particular reasoning for it was he was thinking there might have been a second person coming up to be like it wasn't like a lone wolf or whatever. It was like a 2-person team or whatever. And I think his feeling was he wanted to make sure the weapon was clear so that there wasn't a possibility for anybody else to get shot then with that gun. But unfortunately, he made the terrible mistake of doing that when he did it because it cost him his life in the long run. So, and actually, we'll go ahead and look that guy's name up real quick now I'm thinking about it. Let me look up Colorado. Concealed carrier killed after stopping active shooter. Okay, so this one was from November 18, 2021. And then we got November 11, 2021, Colorado officer not charged for fatally shooting heroic concealed carrier, which is absolute bullshit entirely. And then we got this one here from 2023. Okay, Johnny Hurley was the guy's name, by the way. Yeah, so why was a man who stopped a mass shooting shot and killed by Arvada police? Johnny Hurley was certain of many things in his life, one of which was that he would someday have the opportunity to stop an active shooter. On June 2021, he did. Said Hurley often thought about what he would do if he heard gunshots. He discussed it with friends, his sister, his partner. But it wasn't just idle talk. By summer 2021, the longtime chef had spent nearly a year training for the possibility, working with former military personnel, learning. He apparently had a Hellcat. Interesting. Said 40-year-old carried a gun with him nearly everywhere he went. At some point, he was certain this time for action would come. June 2021, shotgun blast echoed through Wait, it says shotgun blast. I thought it was an AR he had, though, the shooter there. So that echoed through Old Town Vida around 1:30 p.m. It was a warm Monday. It says Denver suburb. Said friends took lunch together on patios, etc., etc., etc. It said people ran, ducked for cover, and panicked, ran to the vehicles. Alvarado police officer collapsed on the sidewalk at a far end of the square near an intersection of an alleyway and a parking lot. Said assailant, a heavy-set man with a black t-shirt, black shorts, black fisherman-style bucket hat, and black face mask, turned away from the lifeless body of Officer Gordon Beasley, then fired again, this time shattering the rear window of the officer's parked SUV. Some man casually walked away through a nearby parking lot to where an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle was resting inside it. Okay, that's what it was. So he shot the cop with a shotgun and then went back for an AR then. This is Officer Crane Brownlow and two colleagues from the department heard the gunshots from inside a one-story unmarked police building about 30 yards from where the officer was killed. Said Brownlow, a veteran of the police force, and others were there as part of a team assigned to work within Old Town, in part to act as community liaisons between business owners and district's growing homelessness population. So each shotgun blast sounded like a fist pounding against the building's back door. So Johnny Hurley heard the gunshots too. He was shopping at a Navy surplus store in that area, less than a football field distance from where Beasley had been gunned down. Said Hurley had been shopping for new work boots and wanted to purchase a fishing license, but now he was looking out the storefront window and saw the assailant walking away. He has a gun, Hurley said, pointing to the man in the distance. Said dressed in a red t-shirt, brown shorts, and red baseball cap. He wore backwards. Hurley ran out of the front door of the store, pulled his Hellcat out of his holster, dashed towards the town square, and crouched behind a brick wall. He asked a bystander if he knew where the shooter had gone. Bystander shrugged and pointed in the general direction of the guy's path. Said Hurley peered around the barrier and saw the man in black walking around him through the parking lot. Man was carrying AR at the time in his right hand. Said Hurley ducked back for a moment, then steadied himself. As the gunman drew closer, Hurley stepped out, aimed, and fired 6 rounds. Said meanwhile, Brownlow stayed at the back door window while the other officers took up different positions inside the building. A figure appeared in Brownlow's field of vision. Officer did a quick assessment. Man was about 75 feet away, his back to the officer. Red shirt. Okay, so he shot Hurley in the background, is what they're saying here, I guess. Said he was kneeling. Oh, there you go. Kneeling and holding an AR-15, his muzzle pointing down. Man approached the manipulating rifle. Is he loading the gun? Brownlow asked himself, according to Jefferson County officer report. Said Brownlow slowly opened the door, kept his gun up, never losing sight of the suspect. He trained his weapon on the dude's back and literally shot Johnny Hurley in the back is what it was. Yeah, fuck that shit, man. That cop should have been charged for sure on that one. So, such a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. For those interested in what I was reading from here, it was, go ahead and do a screen share of this real quick, and then we're going to call it a day here. It was from this site right here called 5280 Denver Mile High Magazine, and it was this article about the whole thing. Yeah, 1980 to 2021. Fucking ridiculous, dude. Just a sad situation all the way around. Anyway, that's life. And again, that's also, you never know, man. You never know when some shit's going to go down is what it is. So, yeah, always be ready. And the worst thing you could do is actually handle somebody else's gun. So, yeah, if you're going to deal with the situation, and then just chill. Just sit there and chill out, man. Anyway, that's where we're at for the day, though. Like I said, hope you guys enjoy this episode. I will be back tomorrow for Freedom Friday. Probably around the same time, 3, 4 o'clock, splitting in there. It all depends. I got some stuff I got to do tomorrow. Morning and whatnot. Gotta get some blood drawn for stupid yearly TB test I got to take for my medication. So, got to finally do that shit here tomorrow and get that rolling so they can actually give me my meds again here pretty soon, so I can take those again fairly soon. But, yeah, I'll be doing that and a few other things tomorrow, so it all depends what time it'll be. But, anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, though. If you ever think you're being followed, you probably are being followed, so don't drive directly home is our best thing for the day to go back to the Follow Home Robbery thing. Also, don't live in a Democrat hell pocket where the fucking mayor is a Democrat, because it's always going to be a shit show of a fucking town / city. and it's going to get worse and worse and more degraded is what it is. And that's the one thing when it comes to Texas. I know for a fact that like places like Dallas, Houston, Austin, etc., have a shitload of active child molesters in them. So you never want your kids around those fuckers either, man. But anyway. And the only reason I know that stuff is because I've talked to people who live in those areas in Texas in the past, and they specifically were talking about looking at the, I guess you can do like a map thing or whatever with like addresses and stuff. There's a couple of different sites out there that you can do it on, and it basically is like, it'll, it's like almost like a sex offender registry thing where you just like put in your address or whatever, and it shows you like how many convicted sex offenders in your area and stuff like that. And most of them will bring up like what the people are convicted of. In a lot of cases, it is child sex crimes and stuff like that, which again, you should never see the light of day after committing ever in this country. And it's as simple as that, really. So, anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at for the day, though. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow for Freedom Friday. Not sure what the topic will be for the day yet. I'm still debating on it. We may just do some buried arm stories tomorrow, honestly, for that matter. See what's going on. Within national two-way news and stuff like that, if that'd be the case then, and, go from that route of stuff or whatever then. And then, obviously, we'll be discussing a little bit more about the upcoming November 7th ballot right now actually, we'll do that right now. I'm thinking about it before we leave today. So, you have issues 1 and 2 being, obviously, both George Soros done shit in the state of Ohio. And now you have the Republican Party putting out the following here today. That was, this November, Democrats are trying to enshrine abortion with zero restrictions in our state constitution, while also legalizing dangerous recreational weed, putting our businesses, workers, and children at risk. Every Ohioan must get out and vote no on November 7th. Protect Ohio's future. Vote no on issues 1 and 2. I would actually say vote no on them, specifically for the fact they're both Soros fucking funded. Specifically, the pro-weed amendment is the same assholes as the Colorado one, and it's an actual Soros fucking NGO group is what it is there. And the same thing with that, you have him actively funding abortion for issue 1 there. Not only abortion, it's also child sterilization and, stripping parental rights and stuff like that, of being able to control if their kids are going to go get an abortion or be on hormone drugs or anything else like that. That's what it is, dude. And you're stopping parents from having those rights to stop kids from sterilizing themselves, is what it is there. And it's all Soros through the fucking ACLU here in Ohio. And then Planned Parenthood funding, too, for that matter. So, yeah, it's just absolutely disgusting. What's even more sickening is that you had, them basically pushing the yes vote on issue 1 there with this couple who's talking about, at 18 weeks, our doctors told us that our baby wasn't going to be viable. So instead of getting a second, third, fourth, or fifth opinion, we just chose to shit talk the state of Ohio because of their laws, and then went to a different state and got an abortion done on some dumbass doctor's orders is what it was. Or you could, I don't know, go get a fucking second, third, fourth, and fifth opinion, Kyle and his wife, and actually realize that no, your dumbass original OBGYN was a fucking moron, leftist piece of shit, who probably worked for fucking Planned Parenthood or some crap like that. And when you got the second, third, fourth, or fifth opinion and realized, like, no, that kid is 100% viable, and these fucking dumbass doctors don't know what the fuck they're even talking about. Probably shouldn't have meth lessons anyway, for that matter. No, you would have probably had a viable child at that point, and most likely you would actually have a perfectly fine toddler walking around today, people. But no, instead you chose at 4.5 months in to murder your kid in the fucking womb on some dumbass doctor telling you, they're not going to make it. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. And I say that specifically because I had a fucking fourth cousin who survived at 22 weeks. So, anyway, that kid was a miracle of God, and he still is today, and he's a perfectly fine kindergartner now. Anywho, but that's pretty much where we're at for the day, though. Like I said, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. We'll also talk a lot about 2A stuff and whatnot tomorrow on Freedom Friday. And hopefully Core will be on then. We can actually have a chit-chat about just random stuff going on with Texas and Paxton after the impeachment and see if Texas is actually doing their job now. And the people of Texans there, actually calling on the assholes who try to impeach Paxton to get thrown out of office now for themselves. If that be the case then. Hopefully they will. I know that Dade Fillon, I think that's the guy's name is, that's the Speaker of the House of Texas there. That guy needs to be tossed out of office right now and in Texas State Prison right now. She was pulling there because he was definitely part of that impeachment trial of Paxton. So anyway, he's also one of these Bush fucking cartel cocksuckers then. So anywho. But yeah, other than that, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one. Like we always say when we leave these off, hug your wife, your husband, your kids, your family dog, even for that matter. Because you never know if today's going to be your last day with them, man. Call your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, whatever the case be. Because you never know if you're going to hear from them again. And tell them you love them. Have a good one, y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully. If we don't see you on this channel, like I said, check out Little Lacy Anarchy. It'll be on that channel for Freedom Friday then. And we'll go from there. But we shouldn't be getting any channel strikes on here because, again, everything we showed today was legitimately for educational purposes, period, YouTube. And it is also, for the matter, freedom of the press, bitches, and fair use, for that matter, too, on that one. So, anyway. That being said, that's where we're at for the day. See y'all on the next one. Later, y'all.